Welcome to the Schwartz Advisors Report from Aftermarket News. I'm Maddie Weiner, and we are live at Apex, and I'm joined by Rick Schwartz, Managing Partner and CEO of Schwartz Advisors. Rick, thanks for taking the time today.
Great to be here, and it's great to be back at Apex.
Yes, agreed. So I think most people know that you are heavily engaged with the distribution side of the aftermarket, but I also noticed that the last transaction deal you did was between B&R Auto Wrecking and Highview Capital. So what other areas of the aftermarket are you actively involved in?
Well, Maddie, we're certainly involved in the AWDA or traditional side of the aftermarket. But as you mentioned, our most recent deal was we sold a company called B&R Auto Wrecking, which is a salvage business. Earlier this year, we had two other transactions. One was with an e-commerce company that sells headlights, and we also sold a company that's in the paint distribution business, so we get involved in the specialty distribution area.
Oh, okay.
But in addition to that, we get involved with suppliers, we get involved with companies on the SEMA side, the specialty performance business, and we even get involved with service businesses.
So a little all over the map, I guess, in the aftermarket, you would say, yeah?
Yeah, we cover just about every aspect of the aftermarket.
Yeah, no, that's great. So are there any particular segments of the aftermarket that are more in demand from like an investor standpoint?
You know, it's an interesting question, Maddie. First of all, I would say that the vehicle aftermarket has been very attractive to investors for a long time. It's because of the aging vehicle population,
right.
Also the size of the population, and the stability of the aftermarket. So the aftermarket in general is very attractive, but you know, good businesses are always going to be in demand. Certainly it ebbs and flows from year to year in terms of what's more popular.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of activity in service businesses. We still see a lot of activity in the mergers and acquisition world with distribution businesses. We're starting to see a lot more activity over on the specialty side too.
Oh, very interesting. And commercial as well, or?
Yeah, that's something that we started working on a few commercial projects this year, and we expect to see some more M&A activity over on the commercial vehicle side of the aftermarket.
Yeah, very interesting. So can I assume that these, you know, sort of in-demand segments are also trading at higher values? Would that be correct?
It's a great question that is not a simple yes or no, but I'll try and get to the heart of the issue. Any business that is well run, that is performing well, will be attractive to investors. Is it trading at a high multiple? The answer is yes, relative to what's going on in the economy at that point in time.
Okay.
Some people might look at history and say, hey, multiples were better or they were worse 2, 3, 5 years ago. And so we try and tell people it's not so much what was happening in the past. Really what we have to do is look at how is your business performing relative to the overall economy and the overall M&A world in the aftermarket.
Okay, that makes sense. And I assume factors like inflation, I know we've talked about, play a role, and just other things that are happening in the economy right now, like, you know, recovering still probably from COVID-19. Yeah.
It's a great point, Maddie. I think we also have to look at what's going on in the overall economy. You mentioned inflation.
Yeah.
Inflation can be a factor. Interest rates can be a factor. You know, supply chain can be a factor that indirectly can impact valuation. Competition is something that is also a big issue. So when we look at a business that's coming up for sale, we like to look at how is the business performing overall, given the conditions today. And the team at Schwartz Advisors is really good at looking at how do we optimize valuation for a given business based on a lot of different factors.
Oh, okay, very interesting. So what does make a company desirable or sellable from an investor standpoint?
You know, it always starts with people, Maddie. So I think we need to look at great management. And investors always like to invest not only in the business and the business model, but in people. So an organization is important. A business that has a sustainable competitive advantage will be attractive to investors. And then we need to look at some other factors like how is the company performing, what are the growth prospects for that business and the segment that they're in. And then we come back to people, because people really do make a big difference in terms of how investors look at an investment opportunity.
Yeah, very interesting. I assume part of that is, making sure that some people stay on and, kind of continue operations and, on board for growth. Would that be right? Or
Yeah, certainly, and there's two pieces to that. The first
Okay.
piece is the transition, meaning
Yes.
when a company is bought, there needs to be stability for a period of time. It could be 6 months, could be 12 months, where the people who sold the business stay on. But certainly if there's people who are going to stay on, whether they're the existing management team or maybe the next level of management who are going to step up,
Right.
it's very important that there's some level of stability in the acquired company.
Yeah, very, very true, very interesting. So, so we've been talking about the different businesses that you guys deal with, and you guys don't typically deal with distressed businesses, is that right? Or
Not exactly.
Okay.
There are certain peer companies of ours that specialize in what's called distressed or turnaround businesses.
Okay.
We don't necessarily focus on that. The way I'd answer the question
Yeah.
is, if there's a really good business that has underlying fundamentals like people, a good competitive position, good products, but it's just hit some hard times, so it's distressed.
Right.
We would consider working with them, but we don't work with businesses that are just declining, and it's really about financial fixes. So we like to look at the overall situation. Is this a company that really could do better with a new owner?
Okay, got it. Very interesting. So working through the financial aspect of a distressed business would be something for the business to do before maybe working with Schwartz Advisors, or Okay.
Not exactly. I think if the business has really good products, they have a good place in the distribution channels,
Okay.
and they have an opportunity to grow and improve performance. We'd love to talk to them to see if we're a good fit.
Yeah, awesome. Well, great. Well, Rick, thanks so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Maddie.